There we go. There we are.
All righty. How you doing, brother? I know you're going through hell, man. You know.
Thank you so much for asking. I was talking about the Country Music Awards where I just caught the end of it. The end of it was Backstreet Boys with Rascal Flatts singing "Life Is a Highway," and that was amazing.
I'll bet you it was.
It was absolutely amazing. And then I look at Reba McEntire, and Reba McEntire is pretty much covered in,
Silver and turquoise, huh?
yeah. And I just said, wow, that's a world that I need to be a part of. I'm a part of the wrong place. I just am. I mean, I do pop music, I guess. I do house CDM, but I also do a lot of country music. And then I look at someone like Post Malone who just said, fuck it, I just do country now.
Yeah, I got you.
I
You know,
understand it. I do now.
yeah. If I could sing, I'd be singing heavy metal, but I can't sing for squat.
I don't believe that. We did a lovely duet to Dance Magic. You know, David Bowie is looking at us at heaven going, these fuckers are doing our music.
It's only because I can do so many voices, man. You know, my friend Nightshade, she gets freaked out all the time because I can actually do a better Australian accent than she can, and she's from Australia, which is no problem to pull it out there, mate. I just got to try and think about it and just pull it on off.
Now, I've always gotten, just picked on for having an accent and speaking a little strangely, but I've spoken the same exact way for 40 years. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
it doesn't go away for me.
no,
Like
I
I'm
got you.
stuck at
I get
this
picked on
40
for my
years.
clothes. I get
Like,
picked on for my outfits all the time around here. You don't see people walking around in tunics, So
but you look great in it though. Like
thank
I
you.
look at you and I say that's a man of distinction. That is a man of a certain level of confidence. It's like Seinfeld with the pirate in the ruffly shirt.
Yeah, I don't want to be a pirate.
It's like Jerry Seinfeld was making a joke and being like, I feel ridiculous. It's like, do you see what Prince is wearing? Prince wears roughly pirate shirts, but you know what? It looks amazing on him. Why? Because he's confident.
Yeah, and that's one thing a lot of people don't realize. If you've got a style or a way you want to be proud of that. Show it all. Let your freak flag fly. You know, there you go. I wear my pagan memorabilia all the time, and I live in the Bible Belt. So yeah, I get treated like crap, because of it. In fact, I actually got attacked by a church the other day.
What?
I
So,
had instead of walking across the highway, I cut behind the church. And they were like, "You're not allowed on this property. We see what you're wearing, and we know what you are, and blah blah blah." Yeah, you need your flares, man. You need to be able to show off who you are. Individuality is a beautiful thing. And showing off your heritage, like my friend Ian does, like I do. You know, that's even better because your ancestors are smiling down on you. Makes you strong.
and like you're holding your drinking horn right now, and I say that it feels good when you have your culture incorporated into your life, because so much about being an American is feeding into capitalism, feeding into consumerism. You gotta have this cell phone, you gotta have this gadget, you gotta have that. But when you hold your drinking horn, when I have my Native American jewelry on my body, I think about a life outside of that, a life beyond that, a life
Mhm.
where my happiness is not dependent upon another company. It's just dependent on myself.
Exactly. Happiness is a choice. It really is. You got to learn how to be happy with what you got. And if you ain't got much, that was your card dealt to you in life. Be happy about it. Be happy with what you got. Because I ain't got much at all. I got a weapons collection, an RV, and a dog and a girlfriend that lives in North Carolina. That's all I have. And guys, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And the reason being is because I worked hard. I was homeless for the majority of my life since I was 16. And I just now got my first home. Yeah, it's an RV, but boy, it's hard to struggle to pull yourself out of home. It's hard to do that, and I did it on my own without help. So, guys, as a schizophrenic epileptic, if I can do it, you guys can do anything. That's why I try to tell you guys all the time. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are incredible, and your voice is incredible. Your flair and your style to you when you're having a good day.
I want to
You're
get back
all
to
over the
having
place.
good days.
Yeah, you're all over the place, and it's great.
I look back at all of the little live jams that I did where I was singing, and I would you know talk into the microphone, and I would joke with you, I would smile, I would laugh, and I would say, why can't I just do that more often? Why can't America at least meet me halfway? Because I'm asking for disability benefits because that's the only thing you can really do as a veteran when you've been injured. You ask for disability benefits, but they're making it hard to get my disability benefits. So I want to meet them halfway. Give me a country I can be proud of. Give me a country that I might, damaged as I am, consider bringing a child into this world.
Yeah. And you see, I understand that definitely. With me being a schizophrenic epileptic, I'm ostracized by a lot of people, because they automatically think I'm dangerous because they hear that word schizophrenic and they freak out. Well, the way I latch on to myself, the way I anchor myself is by remembering the good, honest memories that I have and latching on to it, constantly talking about it, constantly thinking about it. And it keeps me in this happy mood, and even when things are going wrong, I sit down and I think about the good stuff, or I go do something that makes me happy. Like in your case, you come on here sometimes and you're like, I'm in a bad mood. I want to put myself in a better mood. So I'm going to sing for you guys and I'm not going to read the chat. I'm just going to get up here. I'm going to do my thing. If you guys like it, you guys like it. If you don't, well, kiss my buns. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying, man. Don't worry about these people on here. Don't worry about, your disability will come in. I will tell you this because whenever I was getting on disability, whenever they finally sent me that letter and said, "Hey, we're going to send you to our people. You are messed up," I got it. Now it was months later, but I got it. So if you're at that stage, man, you got it. They just got to do it for their own stupid paperwork.
No,
Bureaucracy.
I received the letter. I mean, it's amazing news. It's taken 6 years after being sexually abused by the United States Air Force, but I have the letter that says now, yeah, we've done all of the higher level review and we've deferred an opinion that you have PTSD. And I said, what took you so long? But
Thank
also,
you. Because it was 9.5 years for me. 9.5 years in a mental institution before they were finally like, yeah, you're messed up enough. So I get it. American healthcare is horrid. It's absolutely deplorable. It needs to be changed. There's a lot that needs to be changed.
what do you think the change should be? Because I've been arguing with someone in a Reddit chat about whether or not you should have AI in medical care. Now, it goes both ways. You can't just have all your data out there and then just expect an AI to be ethical or to have enough security to make sure that you're
Or to truly
good.
understand triage.
But you should have enough in there that an AI can connect you to the services that you need to do and keep you abreast of, what is going on.
Yeah. Now, as far as AIs go, quick diagnoses for nurse practitioners, making it a faster, easier job for nurses, um, organizational purposes, things of that sort. And AI is a great idea to put in the medical system. Do I want an AI robot working on my butt? No, no, just no. But that's because my butt's gonna come out with two hearts.
Well, your heart is big enough as it is. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, knowing my luck, they'll put a heart in my butt cheek and take my heart and actually put it where my gut is.
Is that a new
But
country song? Heart in my butt cheeks.
get that throbbing bass.
Heart in my butt cheeks. Truck in the dirt.
Sorry, guys, I had to. I had to.
I want to see healthcare in America improve, and the only way to really do it is to embrace either more technology or more empathy,
There
because
you go.
it's diverging pathways, but at least when you diverge those pathways, it's a path forward. Because right now we're doing middle of the lane medical care. I mean, we're not empathetic
Right
enough.
now, we're doing this.
I wish we would. I wish you have the choice of going to either a super ethical, super holistic hospital or go to what I would only consider a
A chop
maintenance
shop.
line for Toyota and just have, the robot do all the microsurgeries and everything. I mean, when you talk about how many times people just bleed out because they don't have all the technology to detect hemorrhages because they can't see that much. They can only see with their eyes. They don't see with any other senses. Now, a robot can see with
Now,
everything.
that's what I'm getting at for diagnoses. For hard things to diagnose, and AI would not be a bad thing. A quick little bit of nanobots injected into the bloodstream that will pass through your urination or through your defecation, and gives your entire body a checkup through an AI program would be an amazing thing. Because then you just walk in, all right, come back in 3 days with a stool sample, and you come back 3 days later with the stool sample. You turn it in. They examine the nanobots, and they find out the AI tells them everything they need to know. That is something I have thought of before. But as far as right now goes, I think the easiest way to solve America's medical problem is to finally get over it, pay a little extra taxes, and some universal health care. You know, have it to where if you break your arm, you can go in and get it fixed, and not have to worry about, oh my God, now can I feed my family for the next 4 months? Because it costs you an arm and a leg just to talk to the doctor. That's not even for him to do anything. It costs $1,000 just for him to talk to you and look at your paperwork. Some people don't have $1,000, just to blow. And if we had a universal healthcare system like they have in Iceland, Finland, Germany, and places like that, where they have to pay a little extra taxes, but they get that help, you know, by all means, I will pay extra taxes, you know, because that doesn't just affect everybody else. That affects me, you know. So I'll pay that extra taxes, and it lower the damn price of food. It's gonna get bought. You're gonna make your money. You ain't gotta make a carton of eggs $12. You know? There's so many things that can be fixed right now that just requires a little bit of out the box thinking and a little bit of imagination. And people can come up with stuff that's workable. Like what I was telling you about the underground civilization. Those solar panels that I was mentioning, You know, they just get charged by the very panels that they're powering. So it continuously creates power. It would never stop. All you got to do is repair the panels and the panels on the ground and the panels on the ceiling. That's all you'd have to do. You know, and people just need to think outside the box, think sci-fi for once. Stop thinking, oh well, economy, oh well, money, oh well, war. Think frickin' sci-fi for a daggum change. Think Tomorrowland. Let's put our scientists, let's put our doctors, let's put our people who actually give a crap about making the world better in charge. And let's get rid of all these people that just seem to want to make war and money.
See, I knew you were the one to talk about this with because you are a forward thinker. I mean, when you're talking about the nanobots, that's the kind of direction that people should be going in. You know, you shouldn't just go to your doctor when you're deathly ill. You should go to your doctor with a weekly blog. You should vlog to your doctor. Your doctor should know, okay, how often are you sleeping? How often are you eating? What are you eating? Now, I know that that's a lot of personal information, but if your doctor has to do surgery on you to keep you alive because you haven't been telling them what you've been doing with your life, that is a little too late to do anything. So we need to increase communication between patients and doctors. Now, you're talking about a brand new civilization. I agree. I mean, you talk about someone who broke their arm. I'm going the other way and say, why did they break their arm? Because you break an arm because you don't have strong enough bones.
Oh, thank
So when we talk about that, you want to talk about adding taxes for healthcare? I'm saying no, you need to create subsidies for nutrition. You need to tell
true.
people, you know, I love Gatorade. I love your Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew came out with a brand new flavor. Good for them. Why aren't our kids drinking milk? They can drink whatever they want on the side, but if they're not drinking milk, or if they don't even know
Whatever
you're
happened?
lactose intolerant, drink
Soy
coconut milk,
milk.
go drink soy milk, almond milk,
But
whatever.
whatever
It
happened to the
works
old
without.
90s commercials? Whatever happened to the old 90s commercials? Milk. It does the body good.
If I have to look at a political ad, I'm going to say you need to put those ads back in, or beef, it's what's for dinner. To remind people, I know you want to eat just processed, chips. My
Fast
mother used to
food.
eat, hydrogenated vegetables. It was disgusting to look at. And then I would say, well, couldn't you just eat a carrot instead of eating hydrogenated vegetables? Just eat the carrot.
Yeah, just eat the daggum fruit. Just eat the daggum
What
vegetable.
what
You
what's
know,
so
quit
wrong
being a
with
weenie.
eating fruits and vegetables? You get
Quit trying
minerals,
to
you
make
get
it look
brain.
like meat. That's my deal. Quit trying to make it look like meat. That just proves you want a steak. That just proves you're doing something that just for your health. You're not doing it because you enjoy it. You know, so quit making it look like meat. They're even putting fake bones in this stuff now.
Oh god.
Yeah.
They've gone too far if they do that. Like, how much theater of the mind do you need in order to get some nutrition into your body? I mean, we talk about teaching kids history, math, art, all the things that we think is important. We don't talk to them about you need food to live. You don't live off a cell phone signal. You don't live off of Fortnite. Fortnite doesn't give your body nutrition. Kids love to play it, but could they play it while drinking a glass of milk? I'm just curious. Is that too much to ask? Not to legislate it, but to
Glass of milk,
subsidize
a banana, and
these
some
people.
oatmeal. Glass of milk, banana, oatmeal. There's your good breakfast. Throw in a cinnamon roll if you like some sweets. You know, but you're absolutely right. Our food is horrid. You know, that's why I prefer hunting and fishing. You know, Haven't got my fishing license yet, so I haven't been able to do some serious fishing. And my pole broke. Thank you, Shuck. But my dog got after a raccoon that got into the house and he broke my fishing pole.
Really? Hmm. Are you having a wildlife preserve? Raccoons are. I don't know. I guess they don't really have a natural fear of humans.
Well, I was asleep and Shuck was in the bedroom with me. I had the front door open and the window open because why run the AC if it's cool enough outside? And he crawled in through the window, wanting to get after my MREs. And then Shuck got after him.
Hmm.
Boy, was that a night to wake up to. Oh, it looked like a hurricane went off in my RV, man. It was awful. While I kill or catch my food, I know exactly where it's been in the wild. When you buy from the grocery store, you have no idea what's been done with it. You know,
That's
James,
great.
absolutely correct.
Thank you, James.
You're 100%. I had to stop and read that. I love hunting deer and hog. It's peaceful to me. I go out there to sit down for the peace. The meat is a added bonus, you know, plus the hide and the bone, because I use every bit that I can. The only thing I don't use is the innards. I leave that for the animals, and I bury the heart in honor of Scotty, the Viking god of the hunt. So, you know, I have my little rituals I do with it. But other than that, I use every single bit that I can. And what I can't use in bone or in meat goes to my shuck, you know. So it all, lifestyles and getting back to nature and learning your roots and remembering where we came from should be an important part of everybody's life. You should learn the legends of your people. You should learn the studies of you know, your philosophies. You should learn all those things because that way you never forget where you come from. Always remember your roots because your roots lead to your dreams.
I think that should be a part of our education system. Knowing your history, knowing how to cook traditional meals, cultural meals from your history, knowing cultural practices from your history, they are all parts of your health.
Mm-hmm.
Things that ground you, things that remind you to eat healthy, because there is so much temptation out there to eat poorly. Um, it's a conversation you have to have with yourself, but if you have a family, you can always say it's the cheapest route or it's just what they want. You have to think long term of, if you don't give your kids milk when they're young, then they have brittle bones growing into adults. And that is very costly for all of us.
Yeah, it's like not just milk, but make get your kids into eating liver. Find a way to make liver that they to where they like it. That iron in there, oh
Mhm.
man, solid, bro. It'll make them strong as they can be. You add that with some milk, some good old greens and stuff like that. Yeah, you're gonna have to work to get rid of the booty you're gonna get from it. But you know, it's good food, guys. There's a reason why it was called soul food. It fed the soul and it kept all of those people that were in bondage back in those days. Because it wasn't just black folks; it was everybody. There was everybody was in bondage back in those days. There was white folks in bondage. I have Irish
Is
bloodline.
Irish, yeah. I
I
know the
have
history.
Irish bloodline, and some of my Irish ancestors were slaves that came from the Mayflower. Yeah, there were slaves on the Mayflower. I didn't know that, but you know, unfortunately, the whites could work their way up where the blacks couldn't, and neither could the Native Americans, which I do not agree with. You know, I think that y'all should have been left alone. Yeah. So
I always
it's my belief.
about that. Yeah, I think about how different it would have been if instead of a reservation in America,
A
that
city or a town.
they just made a completely separate country or emigrated as far north as possible and just joined the Inuit. Now, I know it might have seemed as if you were like losing your natural habitat for the most part, but that entire Canadian forest line is teeming with deer, teeming with opportunities for native people to live their lifestyle free. And they would have been able to
Exactly.
retain their culture as opposed to here where every generation is being pulled away. And I'm glad that you were bringing up Scotty and respecting the hunt. There was a phrase that came before healthy. It was hale and hearty. Hale and hearty would mean that you're of sound mind, that you're awake and conscious, but then
You can
hearty
hail
as
other.
you
You
are
can hail
stout of body. Like you didn't think, oh my God, my abs. You thought, I have the strength to throw a bale of hay across the yard. I have the strength to swing an axe and fell a tree within the day. I have that level of strength. And people today, they power lift, they bench press, they do all that. They couldn't even do what a construction worker does for about an hour. They are completely gassed out because they just don't have that strength because of poor nutrition. Bodybuilders, they think that they are healthy, they're not even healthy because they don't even
They're
eat.
not healthy as they think they
They don't
are.
eat the minerals and the vitamins that they need.
Oh, hold on, man. I've got phone calls and I got to go take care of my friend. So I've actually got to go on ahead and get off of here, brother. But
Thank
it
you
was
so
always
much.
amazing talking to you. Sorry, I got to go.
Appreciate you.
Later, brother.
This is Clint Gage, is the best content streamer that we have here on YouTube.
Thank you. Bye bye, my friends. Okay, hang on. How do I do this? There we go.
He's amazing. All right, I'm gonna go through some of these comments. I do as well. No part of the animal goes to waste. Liver, chicken, gizzards, pigs, feet. I love it all. You have to. You really have to learn to love food. And I was trying to relay that in the conversation I'm having with Clint. Falling in love with food, real food, green leafy vegetables, just adds health and value back into your life. As I was walking outside with my dog, I saw a giant truck for Little Caesars. Now, I love their pizza. The pizza's delicious. But you can't eat that every day. You can't just eat junk food every day. You have to have a balance. Having balance in your life just adds value to it. I want to go back to his earlier point about AI and robotics and our healthcare system. I'm all for it. I'm absolutely for it. I think that it is important as a nation to just accept that we're cybernetic. We are cyborgs, every last one of us. Some of us do have the robot arm, but then some of us use technology in such a habitual, synergistic way that it makes more sense to approach healthcare to the machine as well as the human. We think when we are getting a patient history as a doctor that we can just ask all the pertinent questions that we have. But sometimes that's just not the case. The patient has to also be willing to share enough information so that the doctor can give an informed opinion as to the course of action to preserve health. I think it's a good idea for constant dialogue between yourself and your medical team because you want the options earlier. Invasive surgery is tricky. It is absolutely tricky. And it is a trick on you because if they have to cut into your body to excise diseased tissue for any reason, that means that you had to have missed all of the symptoms before. You can't do that to yourself. So let's set ourselves up for success in life. It may seem an arduous task to change your nutrition, change your diet, but with every little bit that you do, grow a little bit stronger. I struggle with insomnia and sleep with my PTSD from military sexual trauma. I have to remind myself that sleep is a superpower. Any chance you get to nap, anytime you feel you are tired and you crawl into bed and your eyes shut and it's suddenly a different time of day, rejoice because that is how your body is supposed to function. If your body feels tired, then you're tired. Go to sleep. If your body is anxious, it's because you have energy. You have energy to do something. I started this podcast series uh, for today with my PTSD trigger of having someone outside my apartment building, and it bothered me. There was rage there, there was depression, there was fear. I'm very glad that I have my service animal who sees me through so much. But I'm also glad that I had a mother who knew that I was going to be a musician, knew that I was going to be someone who can channel that cosmic energy. So she put me through music lessons, she put me through, just gear upgrades so I would learn music theory by trial and error and by self instruction. But I gained something because when I walked out that door and I was faced with a PTSD trigger that I had to go through no matter what, because I was walking a dog that desperately needed to take a walk. So I had the option of screaming at this person, and this person was there specifically to annoy me. I would love to say that this was a stranger and this was just well, it could happen to anyone. That's like, no, let's be real, it's LA bullshit. So I said, I'm not going to give this person the time of day. I got like a little upset and I slammed the door behind me, but I use that energy in another way because I said, look how far I have come. I have a PTSD diagnosis by the Department of Veteran Affairs. I have a Human Rights Commission investigation into how American citizens are being sexually abused and raped by the American government. And also, I have a huge discography of my own original music with covers of my favorite artists. I have everything to gain from fighting in the most appropriate way. And I thank Clint for coming by and joining me on my channel and trying to cheer me up and just show that he believes in a future that is so bright and it's just better. Because I have to believe it's better to. I don't agree with raising taxes. I agree with subsidies. And if anything, just reducing some prices but offering other subsidies. Because I really think that it might be a quality of life thing. We talk a lot about what makes America great again. We don't talk about what makes you healthy, what makes you happy. I think it's important to talk about what makes you happy. Clint is absolutely right. Think positively, think about things that made you smile. And that's hard. That's very hard to do. But I think we all have that in us. We all have it in us to choose one moment that they can improve, one decision that you could make that is just for you and for your best interest. I call this podcast series Countdown to Canada because I think that might actually be where I'm supposed to be. I moved all around America, and every time I say, "Oh, this is the bad place," I'm tired of that. I'm tired of constantly fighting a battle that I feel like I'm losing because no one sees what's at stake here. A malnourished, uneducated, uninspired populace are sheep, cattle to be slaughtered, and sold. I wouldn't wish that on my children. I wouldn't raise them in a system that undercuts their value as a human being. I think my children deserve to know their history and to forge their own destiny. Clint talks about an underground civilization. It takes a lot to get to that point, but someone has to take that step. Someone has to take that step and say, you know what? I think we need a new town. think we need a new city because some people are doing that. We have new cities. Cupertino is a brand new city now. The Google campus is a brand new city. And when it comes down to where we need to go as a society, I don't want to see global corporations replace what it means to live in a country, but at least a global corporation means that you're connected to other countries. You acknowledge that there are other countries. You don't fight against other countries. I was on X earlier and I saw India and Pakistan are going at it for whatever reason. Hi there, Motion. I don't pick sides. I don't. I wish that people on Earth could see the bigger picture. Your best life, your everything is just around the corner of a galactic civilization. Once we start saying, you know what, we're humans, we can live anywhere. We can live in the ocean, we can live on a mountaintop, we can live in the sky, we can live in space, we can live on another planet. When we start spreading out more and say, you know what, I don't need to be surrounded by a million people. I could, you know, just hang out with 10 good people in this area. You'll see stress levels plummet, you'll see health rise. When people have a common purpose and they're unified, they're happier. Hello, James Joplin, yo yo. And thank you for coming into the channel, both of you. I appreciate it. I am a scientist. I know Clint was giving me so many accolades for being a singer and a guitarist, but I'm an engineer and I should be helping people as an engineer more than being a musician. I mean, musicians, I mean, they make you feel good, but I mean, they don't save your life. I mean, some musicians do. I mean, the fray, How to Save a Life, probably saved a couple lives. Okay. They do help in a different way, but we need large solutions now. I mean, I hope. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to actually have to go watch the CMAs completely just to see if they mention Eastern Kentucky. Because if they don't, then I kind of have to call them on it. But if they did, then it really shouldn't matter because they should have done that from the beginning. It shouldn't even be an issue. If you have that many fans and that many people who look up to you, the first thing out your mouth should have been change.org/Kentucky needs you to stop water contamination in Eastern Kentucky. Because that's what heroes do. And you're someone's hero when you're a musician. And you have a lot of clout in order to change things. I guess I have to change things if I'm going to continue making music and being a musician. I can't let Eastern Kentucky down. They need a hero. My name is IanXIlyana. This has been Countdown to Canada. Change.org/Kentucky needs you. consider signing that petition, and always check out some of my favorite content creators like Clint Gage, who is a phenomenal credit to YouTubers out there. Thank you so much. Have a good day.